Hello and welcome to Sega News Bits Live, our final video of the year. That's right, it's been quite a year at Sega Bits. We've had our podcasts, we've had our breaking news, and on this Sega News Bits Live, we're going to be doing a little Christmas past, present, and future, all for you here on this beautiful 60-degree in the Midwest Christmas day. It's kind of wild outside, in that it is unseasonably warm. But this isn't the Weather Channel. Don't click away. So first off, Christmas past. So we threw a question out to the Twitterverse, and it should be called the Xverse, but I my opinions on that. And we asked people what the worst video game they received as a Christmas gift was, and I threw this picture up there. And look at that engagement there. But we got some good ones here. Lego Rock Band. That looks pretty awful. Nicktoons Attack of the Toy Bots. That just doesn't look real to me. I don't even know. Who is that little kid? Who's that? I don't know. We have Wally. Wally for the Wii. Some pretty good ones. Rascal. I don't know. That looks kind of good. It looks like, it does look like a 90s game. Well, it was in 98. This one, I don't know. I think that's actually the best gift. Look at that beauty. I'm all for those. But yeah, as for me, I can't think of any video games that I disliked. I was kind of racking my brain with gifts I absolutely hated. Nothing sticks out, but I did have a memory of asking for. There was a period of time where I was super into Mighty Max, those little Polly Pockets for kids, and I asked my grandma for Skull Mountain for Christmas. And let's watch the commercial for it, and then we'll jump back in and I'll continue the story.
So you've hit on my hideout, Mighty Max. Well, now it's gonna hit on you. Come, Max, meet my friends. That'll stop you playing with my missiles. Fancy a dip in the pool? Have a good look around, Max, cause it's the last thing you'll ever see.
Can Max angle his way out, or will he wind up as bait? His fate's in your hands.
That's pretty cool. And that's like the Technodrome of Mighty Max toys. So I asked my grandma for it, and then Christmas Day comes, and I open a package that's much too small to be Skull Mountain, but I was like, oh, what is this? And this is what I actually opened up.
Mighty Max, Mighty Max.
Hey, watch where you're stepping, mister.
Magus to you, Max.
Magus, you're humongous.
Now look inside.
Lava Lord.
Watch these missiles fire.
Awesome.
And for you, Max, the claw. They'll never outrun the lava blaster.
Norman, Virgil, run.
To the dungeon, Max, and take your chicken with you.
Will Mighty Max escape the evil Mega Robot Magus?
It's a mighty big problem.
Mighty Max Magus comes with everything you see here, including the Mighty Max players from Mattel.
Magus has a much different meaning now. But yeah, so I got that and I was like, oh, cool. I guess I'm getting a twofer. I'm getting Skull Mountain and I'm getting Magus. This is sweet. And Magus was like a little action figure. It was a little bigger than the play sets, but much smaller than Skull Mountain. And then my cousin opens a gift and it's Skull Mountain. And I'm thinking, oh, did she get two of them? And as it turns out, she got the gifts reversed. He didn't want anything Mighty Max. She just picked it up because it looked like a good boy toy. Boy toy sounds kind of weird. And she got them reversed, so he got Skull Mountain. I didn't, and I was kind of crushed for the rest of the holiday season. A few years later, I visited him, and it was in his room, missing all the pieces, just broken, and I was just done. But thankfully, this isn't Mighty Max Bits. It's not like I really stuck with that franchise. I honestly don't even know where my original Mighty Max toys are. So, whatever. I got over it. Well, clearly I didn't because I'm featuring it on this. But what I did get one year, which is probably the best gift I ever got, is this one.
Danita Stokes, president of HAG.
It's bad enough that Sega Genesis has the most 16-bit games, but this new Sonic the Hedgehog, oh, he really does my doilies. They say he's incredibly fast. Well, what's the hurry, mister? And about his attitude. Smarty pants. Why can't it be more like that nice boy Mario? Oh! Little brat!
Now, get Sonic free when you buy a Sega Genesis system at its new price of $149.99.
So that's the Christmas gift I got in 1991, and I actually have it sitting right there. That's the exact console and everything right there. And, you know, as evidenced, it influenced me enough to stick with Sega, be a longtime Sega fan. I mention this story a lot, but we interviewed Tom Kalinske, who was the former CEO and president of Sega of America. He oversaw the release of the Sonic games. And I told him, like, wow, thanks to, you know, the work of you and your team, you basically made me the Sonic and Sega fan that I am today. And he sent me a very nice autographed book, the Console Wars book, that's like a fictional, non-fictional story of the rise of Sega during the Console Wars era. And he wrote a very nice note in there, so, you know. Very cool stuff. But let's move on to the present. So in the present here, I'm surrounded by presents, and I actually have some presents to open here. The first one I want to open, I got this just a few days ago in the mail. It's from Team Season 3, or Team 3 Season, or C3on. Could be like a Star Wars droid. But they are a group of Sega fans, Sonic fans, who are making Sonic Saturday Morning Season 3. And they're using like pre-existing knowledge of where 3 would have gone. They have a team of animators working on it. So they sent this really cool press kit. They went all out. Like, this is printed on the box. Very nice. And inside I got a hat. I could double up my hats. There we go. I got a business card taped in the back here. There is a press kit booklet. Stickers. Little tiny stickers of Sally hugging Tails. Sonic with the backpack, which was like his look. I think he's wearing a backpack. Yeah, he's wearing a backpack. That was like his look for Sat AM. And then we have Bunny with Tails. And then there's a nice little thank you note. I'll show that up here. You can see that. They said, we at Team Season sent you a warm greeting and a cheery thank you for your time. We are eager to share the incredible production we have in store. And so, yeah, what do they have in store? Well, here's the booklet. I won't show the back because I think it's like has people's contact info. But inside, it's really nice. Let's set that down here. We've got some artwork you can see here. So screenshots from what they have so far, some artwork, some cover art, and links. So you can check them out at sea3on.com. They're also on YouTube, and they're on Twitter. And yeah, just super cool. Very nice of them. So yeah, we're going to be covering them as they, you know, release new stuff. And it's very nice of them to send me this hat. It's like look at that, like a combo hat now. That's kind of cool. Next up, I have to write an article, like a proper article on these. Oh, my blankie's falling down. These are from Retrobit, and these are those Saturn pads with the little clicky sticks. I have not had a chance to play with them yet. I took them out of the box. I'm actually going to try to find some time today to just try out some of those 3D Saturn games. But they're very nice looking. I mean, they use the body of arguably one of the best controllers ever made, but they add on the little sticks there, and they add on extra, here you can see on the back, triggers. And obviously I'll have a much better worded. Words will come out of my my mouth much better once I do a proper video or article on these. But I've heard good things. I've heard mixed things. So I'm very interested to try these out. Yeah, I can't say much more than that because it's all based on what I've heard from people. But they are very nice in the hand, if I could say that. So expect more from that. And they sent me this one like 2 weeks ago. And then out of the blue, like a few days ago, this showed up. So I'm glad I waited because I got both colors. I could do ebony and ivory song or something like that. Now, which one should I do next? I'm going to do this one. So this is a little birthday gift I got for myself last month. I've always wanted one of these, and this just showed up for an incredible price. And I mean, if you've ever seen that Simpsons episode, don't you just love the box art? But don't you just love the box art? Look at that. This yellow, it doesn't even... The camera doesn't do it justice. It is the most yellow. It's just beautiful. And it looks like you're buying a Space Harrier game console. The box is huge. But this is the Sega Saturn flight stick. And what's so cool about it, and I have it sitting next to me here, what's so cool about it is it depends, depending on what handed you are, you can actually unscrew these little metal screws, flip this plastic bit around, and then plug this into the other side. So it actually works both ways. So you could have it, if you like it on this hand, or you can move it to this side. And if you have two of these, there is one game that lets you do twin stick, but it does not function as a twin stick. It's kind of confusing. But I've played some Space Harrier with this. It feels absolutely amazing. It's just, yeah, if you can ever pick one of these up, and they had them in the America too. They were all black. This is the Japanese model, but very cool. That's the HSS 0114, the Saturn flight stick. So very cool there. And then lastly, in terms of the gifts, I've got something that I've been actually sitting on for a while. I've been wanting to feature it, and I'll be honest, I was gonna do this blind, but I've looked at it, so I'll pretend this is new to me. But this is from Animation Legends, so you can buy animation art from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and they used to do blind bags of animation cells. They've since run out of those, but now they're doing the pencil art, which was done, they'd do the pencils, and then they'd put the celluloid over it, they'd ink it, and then they'd paint it. And so these are, even though these are cheaper than the animation cells in terms of like price and resale value, to me they're kind of like more pure because this is where they started. These are the actual pencils. These aren't the final cells. So even though this is not what you saw on screen, this is what happened behind the scenes to create what you saw on screen. But this first one, this is huge. This is a huge deal. This is from the Pitch pilot. So this was never actually aired. This was something that they used to pitch the networks on a weekly Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. And you can see this online. It's very messy. But it has, and by messy, I mean like it's an old degraded tape with like the timestamp in the corner. But you can see Robotnik here, and he's carrying a cactus. And what he's doing is he's going to stuff that in a cannon and shoot it. And the only bit of the Pitch pilot that made it into the series, to my knowledge, is I think there's bits of him like talking to robots that might have made it into an episode, but then there's him doing a trap where he's going to drop a weight on Sonic, and that made it into the end credits. And I have, from a previous blind bag, a drawing from that. So it's just very cool to have a little piece of Sonic animation history here. And let's go through them real quick. So I got a 10 pack, I believe. So there's the first one. Next one is this mole from, I believe, the Labyrinth Zone episode. This is a fan favorite. So this is Breezy. That's she was like a robot that looked like a Sonic, like a hedgehog. And what's odd is Sonic's here. You can kind of see him, but either he was like just vaguely penciled in or erased or something, but he's there. It's just, you can hardly see him, like a ghost of Sonic. But that's cool. I always love breezy art. This one's awesome. This is like an extreme close-up. I don't know what the I don't know what this would have been used for. I have to rewatch the series and really keep my eyes peeled. But it looks like they were like zooming in, or maybe he was like on a video screen or something. But I love this one. I love how sketchy it is. This one's interesting because you don't get many Sonics from these. They say these are like blind, but I feel like they go through them and pull some of the better ones so that they can sell them for a bit more. But thankfully they do a lot of promotional things where you can get 50% off, so it's not a big deal. But I don't know what this is from. It feels like it could be from any episode. Sometimes I get excited because I'm like, maybe this is from the opening credits. But yeah, that's Sonic just face palming. Little Sonic. This one is Tails vacuuming a mole. He's like unplugging a computer for a mole. And again, it's got that frame, so I have to rewatch this episode specifically because I bet it will like clue me in to what's going on with this red frame. And it's easy to look them up because when there's a unique character, like this character was only in 1 or 2 episodes maybe, so it's easier to find them. Here's a grounder, little grounder up in the corner. This one's really interesting because it is the only one I've ever seen that is yellow, and it's on a very light paper. And look at that, like it's almost like a statue or something, because it just seems interesting that it's on a yellow paper that's very lightweight, that it's a pose that does not look like something. I mean, it could have been an animated pose, but I don't know. It looks like it's a statue of him. I don't know. This next one is another Robotnik. I like this. This is drawn vertically here, and he's dropping down so we can actually animate it. Watch this. See, he's like, what is that? Parachute. He's on a parachute, of course. Here he is again. He's holding a piece of machinery, like a spark plug or something, and he's talking about it. There's some real good ones coming up. Here's Tails. He's like, yeah, man. Just real chill. Chill Tails. This one is... I remember there was like a episode where they were like football players, and they were like... Yeah, like you can see he has a little Robotnik logo. That's cool. And I think we're going to revisit the football uniform in a moment. Here he is with the telephone coming out of his chest. Someone's talking to Robotnik. This one is another of that red screen. It's interesting because I think this is like an avalanche coming in. And I have one that I got a couple years ago where they're in an avalanche and there's a red square. So I think it's the same scene of them getting hit by an avalanche. And it's always interesting. There's this like, I don't know what this means, but obviously it's like corresponding to the background and the scene, just for the artists and the animators' purposes. All right, so these two, I love these two. So there was a episode where like they turned Robotnik into a ball. So here they are using him as a basketball. And I just love the, like you got the blur here of him and you got his face where he's like yelling at Scratch as he dribbles him. And then this next one, I think is from the same episode where now he's a football and he's about to get kicked. And I love these ones because they stand alone really well because they tell a little funny story. Like, clearly it's a Robotnik football about to get kicked. And that's funny. That's comedy. So, yeah, so you can check those out. They're on animationlegends.com. They still have them available. I might buy one more just because I never know when they're going to sell out. And I actually have one more little bit here that I really want to show off. So if you remember, and I have it behind me here, that is concept art from the Sat AM, which actually fits in because we're talking about season 3, and this is from the original production before season 1 even began to be hand animated. And there were 4 of these pieces, and again, I keep pointing back there, but you'll get a better look in a second. And it was just eating away at me that I bought that one and I didn't buy the other 3. So guess what? I bought the other 3. And so that one is a full body. This is a detail of him from the waist up. Really beautifully drawn concept art here. You can see Cluck, which made it to the final, edit or final version of the show. But what these are is these were pitches drawn by contract story artists, I guess, who were just pitching whatever they could to get a general sense of where the show would go. These are obviously more out there, but there were 2 versions of these. One was of humanoid, like a human doctor, and then there was the robotic doctor. And the humanoid ones, they're online. You can see scans of them. These ones are not, to my knowledge, online outside of the scans that Animation Legends put out. And Animation Legends, I don't know why they do this, but they put out like 300 DPI scans of these with no watermarks. And it kind of makes me nervous because it means that you could be seeing people downloading those, printing them off, and reselling them as originals. So Animation Legends, if you're, what I'm trying to say is, if you want to get these legit, you're going to have to buy them from them, because anything else you might see, they could actually be people reselling Animation Legends like preview images printed out. But these are legit. They are very cool looking, and I have 2 more here to show you guys. This is showing off like a thing he would do where like the bird's neck would extend. Bird neck ratchets out, so maybe that was going to be like an attack that he uses. And then this other one, which I have tucked behind here, is a close-up of his face. And so he has loose wire hair that would like dangle around. So no mustache. It's all on the hair. So yeah, so between that behind me and these 3, that is the full illustrated pitch for this version of Robotnik, a robotic version. And then, like I said, the humanoid one is owned by someone else somewhere in the world who shared kind of low resolution photographs of them, and you can find those on various Sonic Wiki articles. But like full disclosure, the price of these was great. 2 of them were $30, and one was, I think, close to $50. I think the nice looking one, this one was close to $50, and then these 2 were $30 each. So, for that price, to get something that's legit animation, Sonic the Hedgehog animation history is really cool. And I don't know, like I feel like artwork and materials from those shows in the 90s used to be not as special, but as time goes on and the series has more and more history, I feel like they're going to, and I'm not talking about price, I'm talking more about like the historic value, the nostalgic value really goes up on them, because it's just wild to think that I have like concept art from one of the first animated appearances of Robotnik, who's now like a character who Jim Carrey is playing. So anyway, let's move to the final piece of the Christmas puzzle, which is Christmas Future. And so I just wanted to take a quick look at what we have in store. So there was news that broke about these new Sega games that are coming from classic franchises. If you were in the know with Sega, you would know that we've had Streets of Rage 4, we've had Shenmue 3, so this is nothing new. We've had the Dragon's Trap, but the difference is those were licensed out and they were published by external publishing companies, so you wouldn't see Sega on the box art. You would only see maybe a little logo on the back or at the start of the game just to tell you that Sega owns the license. But here we're going to be seeing Sega games published by Sega, potentially developed by Sega, but in other cases developed by third parties who it's kind of like a Sonic Mania situation. So this first one is the 3D Golden Axe game. And this artwork came from a Sega Sammy report from a few weeks ago. And the text there, it doesn't really give us much, but it does tell us, I guess, a little bit more. I think the big thing is the art there. We have a look at what the logo is going to look like. We have a look at the characters. I heard a lot of people really hated the look of the female. I think because they were probably thinking this is the Core 3 from the original, but I think it's either a reboot or a sequel set in the distant future, and these are like their kids or just new characters fitting those tropes of Axe Battler and Gilius Thunderhead, and I'm blanking, Tyrus Flare? I could be wrong, but I think them making her more of like a dark magic woman kind of makes sense because she felt like a female Axe Battler in the originals, so I think bringing like more of a spellcaster vibe to her is cool. But I think the coolest thing is this. Here, look at that. Death Adder, he just looks so awesome. And this game now, this is actually going to be developed by a third party. And, well, we don't know exactly who it is. And I say that because the games coming up are also from third parties, and it just would be wild to me for this to be the one developed in-house when it really doesn't look like the style of any in-house team currently at Sega. So I guess we'll have to wait and see as to who's behind this one, but I'm like 90% sure it's going to be a third-party developer and then Sega publishing it. This next one is, of course, from Lizard Cube. Of course this is from Lizard Cube, and this is a 2D Shinobi game. Again, you can see the key art here. It's straight out of their style, and you can look them up on Twitter, and they had like a jokey post where they're like, it's us trying to avoid questions, and it was the Shinobi minigame of throwing the little stars, and it was like their logo was like dodging it. So they're clearly making jokes about the fact that they are clearly behind this, but Sega's not making the announcement, so they can't make the announcement, I think, contractually there. Now, two that are going to be in-house are Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio. And the big reveal from these, and I don't know if people are happy about it, is that these are actually being handled by the team at Sega Japan who works on games as a service titles. So Phantasy Star Online 2. Now, the Jet Set Radio people, what am I trying to say? So the original creatives from Jet Set Radio, one of which was the concept artist, or the artist who recently returned to Sega in the last few years, they were all in the mobile division. The mobile division has since shifted to this online service division who also does Phantasy Star Online 2. So all signs are pointing to it being an internally developed Sega game, Sega team game from the original creators. However, they are working on it as a always online game. And they allude to that here. You can see make friends, increase your fans, and create a movement. So clearly they are utilizing this this games as a service thing where it's going to be you connecting with friends and your outcomes within the game affecting people who maybe like react to it, and then it increases your clout. I think that's all very interesting. I guess my concern is that this won't have a physical release, and it just feels like Jet Set Radio needs to have that. And so there is a possibility that this could have an offline mode that is on the disc, and then when you pop it in, you can either play the game offline with like a story mode, or you can play the game online and experience much more, essentially experience the true game. Think Phantasy Star Online when on the Dreamcast, which had a physical release and had an offline mode. So that's my fingers crossed for Jet Set Radio. Also, we have Crazy Taxi. That's also going to be a games as a service game. It's taking place in Crazy City, which is a new bit of information. And from what I can tell, it brings back characters like Gina and Axel. So I'm really hoping that, voice actors like Liesl Wilkerson, who plays Gina, who was also in Shenmue 2, Virtua Fighter. I'm hoping they bring her back and not just recast her, because it'd be a nice little, tip of the hat to the fans. This one I'm a little hesitant to think it's ever going to get a disc release. I think it might be only online, always online game. And I say that just because I don't feel like Crazy Taxi fans are as precious about that, and Sega themselves don't seem to be, considering that we've had a couple mobile titles come and go from Crazy Taxi. So I don't know. I really hope that this is like truly like a Crazy Taxi 4. They don't need to put the number there, but give us something that we can keep and play offline and put on the shelf. But that's my hope. And then the last bit is Streets of Rage. Revolution. And this, as we can see from the key art, we have the name has been revealed. We have some artwork here, and then we also know that this is going to be developed by the developer Komi Games Incorporated, who is behind Mighty Fight Federation. And the reason for this is they're straight up saying on social media and on their website, we're working on a Sega game and we're hiring. And if you look at their visual style, it is 100% Mighty Fight Federation. So if you want to check them out, pick up Mighty Fight Federation. It might give you an idea of how their games play, how Streets of Rage Revolution might play. And so I'm excited for this one. Again, I think this is going to be a physical release. I think it's probably going to be a budget game. I don't think it's going to be in the $60 range, probably $40, maybe $50. And that kind of also includes Shinobi here and Golden Axe. But again, if we're just talking like what's going to be physical and what's going to be completely digital, my bet is on Crazy Taxi being completely digital, Jet Set Radio up in the air, and the other three we're likely to see physical releases. I don't think we're going to see the limited run games sort of situation. I think it's going to be Sega themselves either putting out collector's editions or just releasing these as they have been their other games and doing the day one or launch edition content, and probably skewing towards digital for like bonuses, which sucks, but whatever. At least we're still getting stuff on disc and cartridge. So that's the future of Sega. And as far as the future of Sega Bits, we have some fun stuff hitting. Next month, we're going to be doing our look back at our favorite and most disappointing Sega games of 2023. I'm going to get George on the Swing and Report show, and we're going to be going through those. We also have a new Sega Talk hitting in the new year. It's going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist for the Genesis. One of my favorite games, so I'm really looking forward to dipping into the history of that. We're going to have the Arcade Adventure 2 happening at the Galloping Ghost in the spring. We did our first one earlier this year, and it was a lot of fun. Had some people come out for a day. We played Sega arcade games, hung out. And so we're going to do more of that, but maybe have a off-site pre-game sort of situation going on. Maybe we'll meet up at a restaurant and just, have some food and drink, and then head over to the arcade and play until we pass out. And then looking through the comments here, we have, look at this. Barry, can I ask a question? What's your take on Phantasy Star 4? Just started playing it. Disco Nabisco 2234. I think it's a great game. I haven't played it in a very long time. And I'll be honest, I've never 100%ed any of the classic Phantasy Star games. I've 100%ed Phantasy Star Online, but that's a very different game. But it's a true classic. I love that game. 2 is great as well, and then 3's the one that people usually like to forget, right? It's like 1, 2, and 4 are the great ones. If you're going to play the first one, I definitely suggest the Switch release from Sega Ages, because they add all these cool little bells and whistles. They make the game easier to play. just some quality of life improvements, and there's maps and things. It feels more like a experience. I don't know. I really like that release. Let's see, this one says, what was Golden Axe originally on? Golden Axe was a arcade game, and then it started to release to the Mega Drive. There were also ports to the Master System, Game Gear. There was a spin-off for the Game Gear starring Axe Battler, which was like a little mini RPG, like Zelda ripoff. And then there was a 3D game called Beast Rider, Golden Axe Beast Rider, for the PS2, I believe, and that one was not good. Altered Beast also had one, and that was also not good. So, it's interesting that Sega's now doing this return to their classic IPs after really dropping the ball in the mid-2000s with Golden Axe and Altered Beast. And I wouldn't say Shinobi. I think the Shinobi 3DS game was really fun and beloved, but it was very difficult. What's your thoughts on the Young Ye Kiro voice drama? Oh, that's like where the guy... So he's like a voice for Kazuma in the upcoming... Well, he's in the game that's out now, right? And then he's going to be in the Yakuza 8 or Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Yeah, I don't know. I never play in English, but I wish they brought back the original voice actor for English. I don't know if it was a reaction to a white actor playing an Asian character and they wanted to hire an Asian voice actor for an Asian character. But yeah, his voice is not all that great from what I've heard. So yeah, my thoughts are that I don't have a really strong opinion because I don't play the Yakuza games in English, but I think they kind of dropped the ball on just bringing back the original voice actor. That's my opinion. Yeah. So I think that's it in terms of the comments. But, I just wanted to hop on here on Christmas Day and talk about Sega stuff and show off some of these, all the stuff that's surrounding me before I put them in storage. But yeah, so I hope everyone's having a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for watching. Like I said, George and I will be returning next week with some content, and looking forward to that. And just looking forward to doing more Segabit stuff in the new year. I feel like so much news was hitting, and maybe either I missed some of it or I just didn't give it the attention that it truly deserved. So I'm hoping to do that. And I'm very thankful for this hat that I got too. I think it's super sick, brah. But yeah, thank you to everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time on Sega News Bits Live, and have a happy new year. Bye.